Hello, it's Annabelle, and good morning or afternoon to you. It's currently almost noontime for me, and I actually have class soon after this. I normally allocate all of my time to homework, prioritizing that, and yesterday I went into work and the power just shut down maybe 10 minutes after I got there. And what I was doing with my weaving requires electricity because it's actually machine powered, so I couldn't do anything, and I came home. And then I was expecting it to work again later at night, but it didn't. And then my plan was to go in early morning today to just make up for the lost time, but it didn't work out. So I'm gonna chit chat now that I have this kind of free time, and that way later on this week I don't have to freak out and worry about fitting in time for filming and then editing. I really try to minimize how many school supplies I buy. It's expensive, and that's why I save a lot of stuff from the years before, and I really don't need much except binders I got from last year. They're all filled up, like my archives of information. I'm not gonna empty it out and then just have loose papers. So like I got some empty binders and things in that category that I'm just gonna chit chat through, but really it's not a huge variety of cool supplies because it's kind of boring. Like for my courses I will be using a lot of art materials, but 90% I already have from the last 2 years, like gouache, acrylic, ink, brushes, and then loom materials and everything for textiles we mostly purchased last year, and that's in my locker at school anyway, so I don't really have it to show you, except for most days I use a backpack for like academics, blah blah blah, but totes make it really simple to go to the studio because you just throw everything in here and it's accessible. So like this is a flying shuttle. I was planning to work with it and I didn't even get anywhere. And then I got some nice fancy metallic yarn that I want to hopefully weave with and see how the effects come out. Very expensive, this yarn. So I'm hoping that I got extras in case I run out, but I'm really hoping I can return some because I do not want to spend like 15 bucks on a little handful of yarn, or embroidery floss technically. I have these glitter markers that Call It Spring gifted me last spring. Oh, this spring, the beginning of this year, you guys saw that they gifted me these glitter markers. I like to write and plan color-coded things with them, but they're kind of just really messy, like loose in here. I have this paper. I got 2 binders, one that is 1 inch and then the other is 1.5 inch. So since I have 3 studio courses regarding my textiles degree and then 2 that is just liberal arts, so I'm doing 1 history course in textiles, which is really exciting. Apologize for the light going in and out because there are clouds passing the sun. Let's see. Alright, so I already have some things in here. My lit class is sound poetry, and we're not allowed to use computers, which is fine with me. I really like taking notes analog. I have a very specific way of doing it as well that I started in early high school, and I'm very, very fond of it. But the reason why I'm taking textiles history class notes on my computer is because it allows me to add in images, and once I get them printed out, referring back to it is a lot easier, and also I can edit and add in things. So in short, I really care about the notes I take in that class much more, so being able to put in images and correspond to what I'm learning in class will be very vital to what I want for my record keeping. So like this class has this textbook, and even in the book itself there's so many images, so that's why I don't want to print it out separately and glue it in. Everything that I got was red, you can see, but it's mainly because the binders have the ugliest colors and red was the only one that was like slightly okay. I like to have my school supplies be just a bright color because if my room is really messy you can spot it easier, and also because I enjoy this color, so when I have to work with it when I go to class, it just brightens my mood to look at it, and I like that. Then I got a couple of binder dividers. As I said, this is going to hold 3 different classes, and it comes in a really cute pink, which is great, and I already have things inside. This one I am going to hold loose scraps for my printing class, so that when I like to jot down inspiration, sometimes I don't like to use brand new Bristol paper. This is a scrap of newsprint that I used last year, and then this one is the back of like a magazine sheet. I don't foresee this staying here, but basically we had to just find some color schemes, and I tore out magazine sheets. I cut a lot of color swatches to assemble my color palettes later on today. So I'm hoping that these two would just come in handy as needed. I don't want any loose papers in my binder. And they have these pockets right here on the side, but then sometimes it can fall out if you're holding your binder upside down. I just went to Staples and got these. I don't really know if that's the most affordable place to get it, maybe online, but I didn't really have too much time, so this is just what I grabbed for school that's new this year. And then while I was there, I also got a pack of pens. It's a pack of 10 for $2 something, whereas one pen that's individually packaged is $4, so you know, it's not too big of a deal for me. Most of my notes I just jot down really quickly, and all I need is for the ink not to smear and for it to roll on really smoothly. That's my favorite part. Like, most of my favorite pens are from hotels or stolen from, you know, those like countertops, and they're all really ugly with advertisement and phone numbers on them, but they work really well and they write well, so this is kind of just that. Fountain pens and everything else, I just don't really like the texture, like how the metal point interacts with the paper surface. My favorite pen is from Muji. That's a ballpoint pen. I'll get it sometime because I don't know where mine went, so I'm gonna show you once I get a new one. The next time I go to Muji, I got a USB because we have to do that now that we're using computers for designing our homework a lot. Last year it was just really learning the basic craft, doing everything by hand, so you really know the structure and the concept to fabric construction. But this year now we're just using the computer interface to help us come up with new designs that's impossible to do by hand, at least efficiently. This one is Tyler's actually. He gave one to me and then I got this little one. I call this one Piper and this one is Piper Mini. It makes me kind of smile every time I plug it into my computer. I also have a studio key that I use to go in and out since it's locked. So that's kind of why I got a lanyard this year, because my Disney World one is kind of getting old. Like, I've had it for like 7 years now, so something a little cuter would be nice. Mainly because I wanted this card holder, and pink and red, I love this combination. Last year I used this card holder that sticks onto your phone, and that's so convenient because I would never forget my ID. But this year, a couple times, I've already left this at home. I just need to get back in the habit of always having this around my neck when I leave the house. I was gonna say leave the room, but that's kind of funny. My sister got the same thing on the exact same day. She got the red card holder, except her keychain was maroon and mine is pink, so at least we don't need to mix it up. But it was so weird. We actually both got a box that we wanted to use for our supplies, and we haven't set it up yet, so once I do, we're gonna do a sit down video and talk about how we apply it to our own studies, because I think that will be really interesting. That's kind of pretty much it to everything new that I have, so you know, it's not very exciting as a haul. Like, this is my planner. It's really not a planner. It is just a blank journal that I sometimes use for notes, as you see here in the front, but most of the time I use it as a stream of consciousness bullet journal slash planner slash brainstorming thing. The reason I don't bullet journal, I think I've mentioned this before during some lives, it's because I do not like to spend a lot of time to make this really pretty layout for the coming month or the coming week, because then I'm just gonna mess it all up and then I'll never look at it again. I'd rather just jot as I go. I'm a very momentary person when it comes to jotting down things I want to plan, and half the time it is just because it's not really the outcome of this looking beautiful on a piece of paper that satisfies me. It's just having the space to do it. And I've bought planners before, and it only kind of disappoints me when I either neglect it, forget about it, or write in it really ugly and it's a really cute planner or something like that. So I've just come to really love writing on plain binder paper, and I can really talk about some ways I like to jot down and organize my thoughts, but this is the most effective way for me right now. At times you can see I do have like a monthly thing laid out, but it's still not as organized as a bullet journal would be. So that's how it's going right now. I want to find a way to personalize my binders and my supplies, just because I think there's a lot of potential here and it'll be really fun. From 5th grade still, I use my monkey for my pencil case. And see, look, this is the pen that I really liked. It's just one that was gifted to me by textilefabric.com. Half of these things I don't even use anymore. This was from like middle school. You know when these are really popular? The Mr. Sketch scented markers. Highlighters are really important because when I read my textbooks or just any articles, highlighting, I love marking up my page and annotating. It really helps. In the front of my backpack, I always have a lipstick for when I feel like I look really bland, and my lip balm, which I actually need right now. Perfect. Okay. Other random things going around. This, you can see these things in the background. Everything here is about to change. Hopefully by the next time I film over here, because I just went to IKEA last Friday. I needed another table to expand our workspace, especially when I make prints. I need a lot of table room, and then these are shelves that's gonna go up, and that will give us some room to actually put our clutter in boxes so it doesn't have to be stacked in the corner or on the ground. These friends, you could, if you guys kind of see, this is Herschel, Oscar, let's all get acquainted here. Oscar, and then we have, oh my god, what happened to you? Got Lucy over here, and then this is Newt. I don't remember if I ever introduced Newt. He has a bunch of cat ears on him because I went to Target and these were in the dollar section, and I thought that this would give me an opportunity to start some new segment where we all have to wear cat ears. But Newt, Tyler actually got for me for our 1 year. I never made a vlog about that just because there was too much footage around May, and I decided to just cut that out. And of course we cannot forget about Francis. He's normally sitting here, but I had to kind of exile him temporarily. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you had a good time just listening to me ramble. Thank you for spending your time here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you soon in the next vlog. Bye!